Hi, folks. It's your Uncle Larry from downtown Beach in Aptos, California. I've received one question. It was quite a profound question from a guy in England about Bernie Sanders. And I wouldn't talk about stuff I don't know. And Bernie is something I know because I've been following it. I want to tell you a few things that make this campaign an historical event. And the most important thing is Bernie Sanders has done something that no one believed could be done. And that is he's accepted zero corporation money from anybody. And you know, Americans have been saying 40% of Americans don't vote because they believe their vote doesn't count. And they're right, of course. Look, what's his name? The Koch brothers. Believe it or not, just 2 weeks ago, came out and said, we don't need tax breaks. Of course, implied in that is, here's a fact I've only seen once on the media in 10 years. And it was more like 10 years ago. 1% of the tax breaks given to corporations in the United States pays for all their political buying, lobbying, buying up politicians, all of it. 1%. And so now the Koch brothers say, we don't need that anymore. Well, why is he saying that? Because he's convinced that he owns everything and has bought everything. He doesn't need the money anymore. He's actually saying we should change the tax laws because it is so obvious that the whole thing is run by corporations. The lobbyists write I've seen cases where the legislature say, no, I didn't even read that law. It was written by the lobbyists and I just approved it. There is no semblance that the legislatures, the elected officials represent people at all. So along comes Bernie Sanders, who, by the way, in the last speech I saw him give, he said, I'm writing legislation on all this stuff all the time. 40% of Americans don't vote because they believe the situation I just told you. What's the point? If they own everything, I'm just being made a fool of when I go to the poll and vote. They own everything. That's true. And that's not an exaggeration. However, when Barney speaks and says, and this is true, that all his money, 100% of his money, not a penny, comes from corporations. This is a change in American politics, and it's something that we said couldn't be done with the, what is that horrible Supreme Court rule that says free speech, money is free speech, and you can spend any amount you want. It's interesting that I, as a citizen, can only spend $250 on a candidate, but the Koch brothers can send billions. And through these legislations that they have gotten through the Supreme Court, they can spend it. They call them super PACs. They can spend money without ever identifying where it came from. I mean, this is so openly corrupt. But Barney now see that. So factor number one is that Barney doesn't take any money. Factor number two, which is happening right now, is that for the past month, if you follow this scene in the United States, Trump is talking nonsense. The Republicans are saying nothing but kowtowing to him. Hillary Clinton is saying nothing. Barney is speaking every single day. This means that his message, and you see, so the big thing going against Barney is a socialist. And if people won't vote for a socialist in America because it's kind of against their values. But here's what's happening. Barney is speaking every day and on every form of media you can possibly imagine. So eventually everybody is actually hearing what he has to say. And when you hear what he has to say, you know he's not a socialist. He's for the common good. He's for Theodore Roosevelt, in that sense, a socialist. For the common good. And this is something unheard of. Now, when the citizens hear that, now just consider this possibility. 40% of the people who don't vote listen to this guy and they say, number one, he tells us what he believes. Number two, he doesn't take money from corporates. Should I vote for him? Should I vote in my own interest? Can I trust him? And the answer is yes to both of those questions. This is unheard of in the last 100 years in American politics. And by the way, as of today, Barney is like within a few points of Hillary Clinton winning the polls. And I have given you the reasons why. Number one, he speaks every day to the issues, not about mudslinging. Number two, he doesn't take money from corporations. Unheard of. There's a third reason, and I think it's the fact that what he actually stands for is he wants to help the middle class become, and you have to listen to him and see that this is what he wants. Oh, the third factor is in his speeches when he talks, he says, I am introducing legislation. He doesn't bullshit about vague stuff. He actually says, I'm introducing legislation to bring this about. So he's not talk, he's action. That's the third factor in Barney's political influence. So this is what we're dealing with, and this is something we haven't had in history since Teddy Roosevelt. And Teddy Roosevelt didn't have those factors. He wasn't in government, and he didn't know what he was doing, and he didn't have a specific program. Well, except he was anti-monopoly, which of course Barney is. So that's where we're at. Our time is almost up here. So I'm optimistic about Barney. The problem with Barney is there's serious problems. One is he's not a mainstream politician. He's an independent, he's a Democrat. He's running on a Democratic ticket. But the Democrats will never, ever, I'm just saying off the top of my head, nominate him for the Democratic Party. That's a problem. That's a serious problem. But when the polls say something totally different, well, it's hard to say. They're going to be quite a struggle, and that's what politics is about. So that we have a year to fix that, change that, and see what happens. The other thing is that someone may come on this scene like Biden and join with Barney, and that would make a difference. I mean, that would Warren and Barney. Wow, Elizabeth Warren. So we've got a year for things to happen. We don't know what's going to happen. My recommendation is for people to actually hear what Bernie Sanders has to say, number one. Clinton's okay, but Clinton she just seems like I'm the face of corporate America, and I'm going to do what they're going to tell me to do, and I'm going to pretend like I care about people. But she's already swimming in corporate money. So I don't know, the 40% aren't going to vote for her. The 40% would vote for Barney. I mean, this is, as I say, something that's new in history, and it's something to watch. So I must conclude that we simply don't know what's going to happen. It is a totally new ball game. What is going to happen in the next year is totally in a toss-up. I predict something will come into the scene with Barney. Barney cannot do this by himself. And I don't know what that's going to be, but we got a year to figure that out. In the meantime, he speaks every day. He speaks the truth, and he doesn't take corporate money. This is revolutionary. It truly is revolutionary. And the fact that people are giving him money, the small people are giving him money, is revolutionary. So that's what I have to say about the one question I got this week. I hope you will send in more questions, and I promise you I will only answer questions when I know what I'm talking about. I'm not going to give you vague bullshit. I've given you some very important statistics that 40%, and this is not seen in the media very often, 40% of Americans don't vote because they believe that they're not represented, which is true. And Barney will do that. And as I say, the fact that Barney takes no corporate money is, everybody knows that. That's pretty shocking, and that's a change. Okay, folks, we'll see you next time, I hope. Bye-bye. Oh, I forgot to tell you, if you want to give me feedback, I'm on AOL.com, moormanl@AOL.com. And we love to hear from you, your questions, your comments. I read them, and that's it.